I've titled this piece, The Making of the African American. Names matter because names define how people see themselves and how the world sees them. Who were we before the 1980s? Before the 1980s, we didn't call ourselves African Americans. We were Negroes, coloreds, blacks, Moors, indigenous, or Americans without any prefix at all. But in 1988, a major shift happened, not because of grassroots consensus, but because of political engineering. On December 20th, 1988, Jesse Jackson held a press conference and declared, "It is time for us to be called what we want to be called. We are African Americans." This wasn't just a spontaneous cultural moment. It was strategic. Jackson had just finished a second presidential run. He was pushing for legitimacy and identity in a global context, although he himself identifies as a Cherokee. He claimed African American gave us cultural roots, linking us to a continent, not just a color. But the real question is, who gave him the power to rename an entire people? Why was the change so controversial, you might ask? Because many elders and communities didn't embrace the term. Why? Because it suggested we were immigrants from Africa, when many of our ancestors were already on this landmass before colonization. It aligned us with a continental identity while erasing tribal, national, or indigenous connections. It distanced us from our historical names like Yamasee, Washita, Cherokee, Choctaw, Seminole, those who were paper genocided into categories like Black, Negro, Mulatto. Jesse Jackson did not uplift us, but further reclassified us. After Jackson's push, media began adopting African American almost overnight. Schools, corporations, and government agencies followed suit. By the early 1990s, African American became the standard checkbox term on U.S. forms. And now they have retrofitted the term African American throughout history where it did not exist. This was not organic evolution. It was policy-guided identity reshaping. We must ask, who benefits from calling us African American? Why is this term supported by federal classification systems? The term African American removed land-based identity and replaced it with one that was easier to politically manage, monitor, and market. We went from being nations within a nation to being an unidentified group from a distant continent. Today, more and more people are rejecting that label. They are identifying as indigenous, American, or American Aboriginal, Black Indians, foundational Black Americans, freedmen, or by their tribe or national names. Because reclaiming identity means reclaiming inheritance, land, legacy, and sovereignty. The term African American was not our original name. It was not chosen by our ancestors. It was given to us during a political moment, not a cultural awakening. We must define ourselves, name ourselves, and speak for ourselves. Let the record show we are not African American. And again, Jesse Jackson has claimed his identity as Cherokee while calling you an African American. Remember what I told you all about those Indian scouts? They've taken some of us to mislead all of us.